Everyone is scared of something. We all have our unique fears, whether that be a fear of heights, fear of clowns, dying, or flying. But today we are going to be talking about claustrophobia, the fear of being in confined spaces. Claustrophobia is said to affect more than 19 million people in the States alone, and it's one of the world's most common phobias. Maybe you've experienced it before, maybe you haven't. But claustrophobia is often associated with a tight and heavy feeling in your chest, difficulty breathing, and maybe you start feeling out of control and anxious. Even if you don't have this fear, there are a number of horror movies out there that can manipulate you into feeling that kind of way. Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to Top 5. I'm your host, Lindsay Ivan, and today I'm bringing you the top 5 claustrophobic horror movies. Now, I'm not really bothered by being in confined spaces, but like I mentioned before, horror movies really have the power to control how you feel, especially the movies I'm about to mention. Starting off this countdown, we have Cube. Cube is a 1997 Canadian science fiction horror film directed and co-written by Vincenzo Natali. Now, I'm not gonna lie, older Canadian horror movies aren't always the best. And sometimes the dialogue in this movie is quite questionable. But if you can get past this, then it's a great horror movie. The film begins with 5 strangers trapped in a room with no memory of how they got there. The room is a cube with hatches in its walls. But if you open these hatches, they just lead to another cube identical to the one before. So it seems like they're trapped in an endless puzzle of cubes. But there's more to it than just that. The cube also has different traps in it that can easily kill its victims, like a flesh dicing laser. The characters then have to avoid being killed in a claustrophobic environment, which is making them extremely paranoid and confused. This film explores what claustrophobia can do to you physically and psychologically. In the end, you're left wondering what poses more of a threat. Moving on to number 4, we have The Descent. The Descent is a 2005 drama horror film surrounding a group of 6 friends that go cave exploring. But while crawling through a narrow passage, it collapses behind them, leaving them trapped and lost in a dark cave. That scene itself will make it hard for you to breathe, since one of the girls gets stuck halfway through a narrow tunnel. That's like my worst nightmare, getting stuck somewhere in the dark. Ooh. But it only gets worse from there. Not only are they trapped far underground in this dark cave, but they also encounter deadly creatures living in the caves. They call them crawlers. These creatures are said to be cavemen that have been living there for thousands of years. And they can function perfectly in the dark. So these girls have to try to find an exit while also struggling to survive against these humanoid type creatures, while also dealing with claustrophobia, disorientation, and hallucinations. From the dark and eerie atmosphere to the small cave passageways, this film will make your skin crawl. Coming in at number 3, we have As Above, So Below. Another movie that takes place underground, but this time it's in the Paris catacombs. When a team of explorers venture into the catacombs beneath the streets of Paris, they uncover the dark secrets in this city of the undead. This 2014 horror thriller is loosely based on the 7 Layers of Hell. So it takes place kind of like a found footage of a documentary crew. It reveals their experience while exploring the catacombs in Paris. The team leader and archaeologist Scarlett Marlowe believes that one of history's greatest treasures is located underground in the Paris catacombs. The treasure is Flamel's Philosopher's Stone. According to legend, it can grant eternal life and can turn any metal into gold, so no wonder they wanted to find it. So she gathers a team and sets out to find this stone. But in order to do so, they have to sneak into the Paris catacombs and go into unexplored areas in the passages. Some of these passages are thin and narrow, where you can easily get stuck in it. While exploring the catacombs, the walls collapse behind them, and now they are blocked locked in the tunnels with no other choice than to move forward. That's when weird things start to happen, and it starts to mess with your mind as a viewer. All of the team's darkest fears and inner demons get presented to themselves while in the catacombs. They are lost in a hell-type world with twists and turns. The tunnels play tricks on their mind, making it seem like they are going in circles. It literally seems like all hope is lost, and you're in for the journey with them. In our second spot, we have 12 Feet Deep. This 2017 movie not only makes you feel claustrophobic, but will also make you develop a fear of drowning and getting trapped. The plot revolves around two sisters, Bree and Jonah. At the start of the movie, we see the two meet up at a public swimming pool for a little swim. But right as the pool is about to close, Bree realizes that her engagement ring is missing. And where does she find it to be? Right at the bottom of the pool, of course, stuck in a metal grate. So both sisters dive into the water to retrieve the ring. While doing so, Jonah's long hair ends up getting sucked into the grate. While the two struggle to set her free, the pool's manager, seeing no one no longer on the pool deck, starts to close up the pool. As they're down at the bottom, all they can see is the pool's lid slowly being closed over them. He then leaves for the day with the two women still trapped inside the pool. And it's a long weekend too, so the girls are going to be stuck there for multiple days until the pool reopens. Now, this is a thick pool cover that's covering them. They can't just lift it or move it. As a result, they are stuck in a pool with 100,000 gallons of water with only their heads exposed. The rest of their body is fully submerged underwater. The whole movie is then about them trying to survive while dealing with their own demons. Now, apparently this film is loosely based on true events, which makes it that much more terrifying. Although the acting at times is sometimes questionable, you'll be holding your breath throughout the film as the sisters nearly die under a pool cover. And in our number one spot, we have Buried, another movie that triggers two fears in one. This 2010 psychological thriller revolves around Paul Conroy, a US truck driver working in Iraq. Paul, played by Ryan Reynolds, wakes up to find that he is bound and gagged, buried in a coffin 6 feet underground. Some of the items with him in the coffin are a Zippo lighter and a BlackBerry. Slowly, he starts to piece together what happened to him. He eventually remembers that he was ambushed by terrorists that knocked him out with a rock and buried him underground. While underground, he receives a call from one of his kidnappers that demands a ransom of $5 million by 9 p.m. or else he'll be left in the coffin to die. So Paul desperately tries to get in touch with the embassy so that they can find him and dig him up before it's too late. But he's dealing with a limited oxygen supply, a terrible phone signal, and a dying phone battery. Will he be rescued before it's too late? It's a very, very intense movie. Honestly, Ryan Reynolds gives an amazing performance. You literally feel like you're trapped in the coffin underground with him. It's gonna trigger your claustrophobia and also make you afraid of being buried alive. Of course, these are just some movies that will make you feel claustrophobic. There are hundreds more, like 1408. Don't even get me started on that movie. It seriously messed with my mind. And of course, we can't forget about The Shining, or Devil, or 47 Meters Down. Those are just some honorable mentions. Let me know in the comments below which claustrophobic horror movie scared you the most. And with that being said, let's move on to our comment shoutout portion. I'll be shouting out comments from my video, Top 5 Scary Urban Legends from Australia. Jeff Min commented, I absolutely love your channel, and I often put it on in the background when I do chores or create art. I have a quick question. Have you ever received fan art from a viewer? We have actually, and if you ever want to make some fan art for us, then that would be awesome. Just like make it, then take a picture of it and tag us on it on Instagram. I love seeing how talented you all are, because I can barely draw, so. Taylor Tanner commented, thanks for the bedtime scare. Of course. No worries, that's what we're all here for. Gemma Lowe commented, my great-grandmother haunts a Sydney theater. She died of a stroke in a chair during a performance. Some say they hear clapping after practice performance. Wow, that's crazy. But how do you know for sure that it's your grandmother though? Like, have you seen her and talked to her? I kinda wanna know now. Taya001 commented, compared to the animals in Aussie, these are not scary at all. True, Australia is on a whole other level. Their insects are deadly and massive, and same with some of the animals or reptiles. And that's all the comments I'm shouting out for today's video. Make sure to comment something down below for a chance to be featured in my next comment shout out. And as always, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to Top 5 for more spooky videos. I've been your host, Lindsay Ivan, and I'll catch y'all later.